Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Well, good morning, and welcome to the show. As you can see, I'm all alone. I don't know where Mr. Beaver is. I'm not able to get a hold of him, so perhaps he slept in. I hope everything is okay. I'm sure I'll hear from him at some point later in the day. That was a rhyme, and it was intentional. Welcome to the show. If you are not familiar with us, this is the True North Eager Beaver Morning Show. My name is Paul, or a.k.a. Mr. Grizzly. I'd like to thank our title sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, CanadianTarot.com, and the Peppermaster, who have been with us from day one. Actually, they started to sponsor us before we ever produced any content whatsoever. So they've been believing in us from the beginning. So I'd like to say thanks to them. And thanks to you for joining us here this morning. I see lots of people are in the chat. And the numbers on my screen, keep rising up because we are on multiple platforms. So if you're watching on, say, Twitter or Facebook or Twitch or any one of a number of YouTube feeds as well, and you want to get into the chat, join the damn fam, well, you can just click on that little link right there in the top corner. For those of you listening, I'm pointing to a QSC code that takes you directly to our YouTube channel where you can join in the chat. And if you are curious about what that address is, because you might be watching this on a phone or a tablet, so you can't really scan that, well, I've just placed the address to our YouTube feed right there at the bottom of the screen, www.youtube.com/@True North Eager Beaver Media. And that will take you directly to the YouTube feed where you can join in the chat and say hi to members of the damn fam. So I hope everybody's doing good this morning. I'm a little bit tired. I'm sure you can hear some of it in my voice. Didn't have the best night's sleep. Sometimes that's just how life goes, right? Just took the little doggo out. I don't know where she is. I think she's asleep on the couch. Took her out so she could do her morning business. She did number one, no number twos, which means I'm probably going to come home to a surprise later today. Who knows? But let's just say she's a bit of a handful, but every day that she spends time with us, she gets more and more calm and relaxed. And we were able to get her out to the dog park last night when there were no other doggies there, so she ran around for a good few minutes. And that I think it did her a world of good because she calmed down, like got real chill after that. She just needed to expend some energy because she's in the apartment a lot throughout the day. So I usually get her out for a couple of walks. Usually get home from work, I'll take her out for a walk, then have some dinner, then take her out for a nice long walk later in the evening, just so she can get used to the neighborhood and get slowly socialized with all the friends and neighbors around the neighborhood. So yeah, it takes time. Doesn't happen overnight. She was going to be my co-host today, I think. There she is. And she's got her own chair and everything. Let me just move this a bit so she can get more into frame. There you go, Lola. How you doing, sweetheart? She scratched her nose this morning with her, what's the claw? Her dew claw? Yeah. Because she has a bit of a pink nose, and I went, oh, it's looking pinker. Oh, no, she's kind of bleeding. So she's a handful, but she's a lovely handful. We love her. And she's really become a member of the family and is really settling in quite nice. Aren't you, Lola? Hey, sweetheart? Hey? There's my girl. Look at that. Oh, sorry, you want more kisses, eh? Well, I prefer you don't do that because I am allergic to your saliva and I break out in hives every time she does that. But, that's one of the side effects, I guess. I'll slowly get used to it. Here. How's that, Lola? No? No better? My co-host. She's also my production assistant, but she's not very good at production. She's staring at actually a green screen, not a brick wall, but, I think it's kind of cute. It's kind of cute. Hey, sweetheart. Hi, Lola. Hello. Can you say hi? Can you say hi? No? No, she's going to do her own thing. She'll be my PA, my production assistant for the day. I think Mr. Beaver has slept in. Sent him a couple of texts. I guess I haven't heard from him, so he's probably sound asleep, and that's okay. He probably needs his sleep. The beaver needs his beauty rest, after all. So I'll try and bring you some information and give you a show. I don't know what we can talk about. I have a few different things, of course. Danielle Smith being the absolute horrible human being that she is, and it looks like they've gone on the offensive after Nahid Nenshi called her immoral and reprehensible for her behavior towards the trans community. Looks like, and I'm told this is just rumor only. I don't know that this is actual fact, but I do see here that it says, this is from the breakdown from a friend, Nate. It says that the government of Alberta has blocked Nenshi.ca. However, UCP.ca is still accessible. Now, I've got different statements from different people here saying that's not how it works. Some new websites are automatically blocked for 24 hours on some networks. It happens to us every time we publish a new landing page microsite. No one at the University of Alberta in Calgary can see it for a day. Except Nenshi.ca was registered. Let's see. It's not a new site. Deflect all you want. Proof is in the pudding. So it was registered on August 8th, 2004. It expires on August 8th, 2024. And it was updated on July 23rd, 2023. So, yeah. Mr. Andrew McIsaac, you are incorrect, sir. It looks like the government of Alberta has blocked his website, which is rather suspect. Some of the commentary about that is, so the UCP is it for freedom of speech? Oh my goodness. Yeah. Danielle Smith. There's a lot of hatred towards her. And of course, one of the best comments from an Alberta educator is, but Trudeau's the dictator. Looks like the government of Alberta has blocked Nahid Nenshi's website because they didn't like what he had to say about Danielle Smith. Irony of ironies being that all he did was speak the truth. And the truth sometimes hurts. And I guess she didn't care for it. I think I have a clip here of it. Let me see if I can find the clip. He was on the Ryan Jesperson show. Let me just see if I can find the clip. Nahid Nenshi, there he is. And do we have the clip? I had it here earlier. Where did it go? Oh my goodness, I lost the clip. I had a clip on Nahid Nenshi, Ryan Jesperson. Sorry about that. Trying to type and think at the same time. Sometimes that's not so easy. And let's see here. See if I can get the clip. No, that isn't it. Well, you know what? I tried, and it looks like I may have failed, but that's okay. That's okay. Let's try a search on Nahid again. I really would like to show you this clip. It was quite entertaining, to say the least. To say the least. Can I speak? Can I speak? Here's another clip, and this was... Oh, here we are. So here's a greeting from him, actually. It says, hi again, Alberta. Nahid Nenshi here. Wow, yesterday was beyond my wildest expectations. There are so many people that reached out that signed up. If you haven't yet, please go to nenshi.ca to lend your support. Let me see if I can open that website. And it should be able to, because I'm in Ontario. I don't think they can block it. Yeah, okay, there's his website. So I've got a 49-second clip here of former mayor of Calgary, Nahid Nenshi, who is running for leader of the new Democratic Party in the province of Alberta. Let me bring it up on the screen here, and I will just share this with you, and we can listen to what he had to say. 1 second. There we go.
Hello, Alberta. It's Nenshi here again, standing in a tropical paradise where we just completed our first volunteer kickoff. Hundreds of people coming out on one day's notice. These last 2 days have been electrifying. I have been overwhelmed by the incredible support that we received from so many people. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for reminding me and reminding all of Alberta that there's a place of hope and optimism for a better Alberta. Now, we're going to have lots to do over the next little while. I'm going to have many, many asks of you. I just have one today. Share your excitement, share your optimism, share it with everyone you know, and get them to go to nenshi.ca and fill out the form and buy a membership, and we're going to keep talking about how we build that better Alberta. For Alberta, for all of us.
So positive, despite yesterday or the day before, the rather scathing negative commentary he had about the current government of Alberta, except that was only a snippet of the 3+ minute video where he mostly talked about growing up in Alberta, using public facilities, public pools, public schools, public transport, public hospitals, and how he wants to keep those public services strong and supported. This is a good man. This Naheed Nenshi is a good man, and I hope he can get in as leader of the NDP in Alberta, because come next election, I think he will give old Danny a run for her money. And I know that a lot of Albertans are pissed at Danielle Smith for the lies, for the harm that she's causing, for the wastage of Albertans' money. The whole, I will not touch your CPP and run an Alberta pension plan, and then she turned around and did exactly that. Oh, wait, I might have his clip here from Jesperson's show. Where is it? No, I don't seem to have it. Darn it. Oh, no, there it is. I found it. Okay, good. I'm gonna air this for you. It just took a little bit of looking and digging and sleuthing. I'm going to show you this clip. This was from Ryan Jesperson's show, and it's about a minute 18. We'll have a look at this, and then we'll come back and discuss what he had to say.
$14,000 a bottle on Tylenol when the federal government had already ordered some just so you could own the libs. $100 million on the failed privatization of Dynalife. $9 million on advertising for the Alberta pension plan, something that in the election she said she would never do. And the list goes on and on and on and on. And, yesterday I had a very busy day, so I haven't had a chance yet to look at what they're suggesting they're going to fix in the utility system, but what they broke in the utility system has caused utility bills to quadruple in Alberta, to be by far the highest in Canada. Our insurance rates, our auto insurance rates, are something like 2.5 times what they are in Saskatchewan next door. This is direct results of UCP government policy. Setting aside the crisis in family doctors, the closure of emergency rooms, the fact that here in one of the wealthiest jurisdictions in the world, you can't be guaranteed that you'll get an ambulance when you call 911 when you're in need. This is sheer incompetence combined with the lack of any moral fiber. And, I will call them on that every single day.
That's what you call a scathing commentary, and I love it. I love it. That's courtesy. Well, it's from the Ryan Jesperson show. We like Ryan Jesperson's show. He's a professional, seasoned media personality who's worked in radio for a number of years. Me, I've never worked in radio. I just do voice work from time to time. Haven't done any lately other than this, of course, but I do have some audible work coming up soon. So, yeah. Search out my voice. That's a shameless self-promotion. Can't necessarily say it'll be this voice. It might be different because some people want you to do things with different accents. So there you go. So let's see. Have I heard back from Mr. Beaver yet? No, he must be sound asleep. I hope everything's okay. Usually he responds to me at some point in time, but here we are. What's this? 7:30. So yeah, he is got to be out like a light. Anyway, I will reach out to him a little later on after we wrap up today's relatively short episode. Let's move on to a few other things. So Danielle Smith, terrible, as we all know. Has anybody heard about this Kate Middleton thing that's going on? Apparently she photoshopped something and now everybody says she's missing. And people are losing their minds over the photoshopped image. I didn't see the image. I heard about it. I saw an image. I don't know if it was the image. And I don't see what the big deal is. I also don't know that she's missing. And quite frankly, I'm not that concerned. I mean, they're a very wealthy family. You know, I have other things to worry about, like the guy who stands at my street corner, well, just one block over, looking for change every day. I'm a little bit more concerned for his welfare than hers, because our system is keeping him there instead of providing him with a place to live and a basic income that he could help contribute by putting money back into the system by buying things like, electricity and natural gas and, I don't know, food. There's things that we can do to make this world better, and helping those who are more or less fortunate than us by state-funded programs, the social safety net, which needs to be beefed up and improved. And we are seeing incremental improvements in that with, combined with, the new childcare, $10 a day childcare, which is great, especially for single parents who have probably suffered horribly. Yeah, Mr. Beaver said he overslept, and I'm just going to send him a message. Just waking up. I said, no worries. Join when you can. Join when you can. There we go. I just sent him a text. So I'm sure he'll be with us in a minute or two. Yeah, exactly. Women in the royal family are always used as distraction mechanisms. So the question is, what are they distracting from? I have no idea. Anyway, as I said, it's not that big of a concern to me because we have larger problems that we need to look at. Yes, if something terrible has happened to her, that's a shame for her family and her children, because she has, three children or four? I'm not even sure. I don't really keep up with the royals because I really don't give a damn about them, to be honest with you. I don't. I mean, I understand it's, constitutionally we're tied to the monarch because we are we run the Westminster system of parliamentary democracy. So the crown is a part of that. And I respect that. And we have our Governor General, who is technically the head of state in Canada, not the Prime Minister, which a lot of people fail to understand. But the head of state doesn't just, she can't just walk in and say, okay, I'm dissolving Parliament. No, the Prime Minister has to ask for her to dissolve Parliament in order for that to happen. And it seemed that a lot of people were unaware of that during the occupation of Ottawa, because they insisted that she could just dissolve Parliament on a whim, and then they could install their own people. And why did I bring that up? Well, because I was interviewed yesterday by a woman out of New York City she's Canadian, but she's in New York studying and working there. And I was interviewed about the outcome of the unconstitutionality of the Emergencies Act. And we talked for about an hour, went on for a little bit. And one of the things we discussed was the lack of civics knowledge amongst the occupiers, how they thought they could just come in and overthrow the government by requesting that the Governor General do it. And then again, like I said, that's not how it works. They said they were here for our freedom, but they wanted to overthrow our democratically elected government. And we don't elect a prime minister, folks. We elect a parliament. We have 338 elections, and we're going to have more because I've noticed recently that some regions are getting divided up because they're based on populations. And as the region grows, they split it, or it might be split into 3 or 4 parts. It all depends. I did notice that Michelle Ferrari's particular riding in the Peterborough area is about to be split, and it looks like she may be tossed in the next election, which, as far as I know, for people who live in Peterborough and the Kawarthas, is a good thing. And the vibe I get from a lot of people from that area is, yes, that's a good thing. Now, we all know it's good if she gets tossed, but I wasn't sure about the vibe from Peterborough and the Kawarthas. And from what I've heard anecdotally from people who have contacted me online, I have friends and family who live in that area. They're like, yeah, we need to get rid of her. She's an embarrassment. She's an embarrassment to our system. She's an embarrassment for people who live and reside in this area. She's just not good for us, and she's not worth it. So, Michelle Ferrari. Yeah. Is it Ferrari? Ferrari. I don't know. She said she's a single mother of 6 children, which is not true. I think she has one of her own children, and her partner has 4 or 5 kids. I don't remember. Does she have 2 and he has 4? 6 kids, but they're combined. So she's not a single mother of them because they live in a combined household. And she's in trouble for some of the work that he did recently in Turkey because she didn't disclose. Yeah. Funny how the CPC seems to sweep that under the rug as quickly as possible. And then, sure enough, another member of parliament for the Conservative Party of Canada, or the Reform Party, the Modern Reform Party, as I like to refer to them, because that's really, truly what they are. A second individual has been proven to have not given proper disclosure as to what they are doing. So it looks like we got a couple of members of parliament for the Conservative Party that are in a lot of hot water over financial malfeasance, for want of another term. Let's see what comes of that, eh? It should be quite interesting, I think. And I see that, Tamara Leach is trending. What are they going to say about Tamara now? I think Tamara said something yesterday to the effect of she won't tolerate bullies in real life, nor on her own Twitter page, which is hilarious because she bullied a city for 3 weeks and 100,000 plus of her residents, but she won't tolerate any online bullying. I think it's really hilarious. Like, seriously, it's really funny that somebody would be that blatantly ignorant. And she's looking for a new lawyer, apparently. Well, that's interesting, because Lawrence Greenspan is not a guy who walks away from something unless he knows it's a losing battle, which would make me think that old Tyee Leach is in some hot water and is going to go to prison by the looks of it. Yeah, that could be very interesting. I'm just looking up Tale of Enormous Suffering. I can't find the story about her saying how she won't tolerate bullying. It's like the irony of it. The absolute irony of somebody who refuses to tolerate bullying and yet has been somebody who's just bullied the country for a few years. Remember, she was a yellow vest Western separatist as part of the Maverick Party, which is a separatist party, which would basically make her a seditionist in broad terms. But, the thing about Alberta separatism is that so many of them fail to realize is that they simply cannot do it. For a number of reasons. I mean, one, in order for them to be able to do it, first off, they need to get permission from, let's see, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4 different treaty rights, treaty territories. We've got, what have we got here? I can't see that. Okay. So Treaty 8, 10, 6, and 7. 6, 7, 8, and 10. All of those treaty areas from 1899, 1877, 1876, and 1906. You got to remember the entire prairies with the third of British Columbia, most of Northern Ontario is all treaty territory. So, yeah, they're going to find themselves in a very tough fight uphill if they think for one split second that they can actually, forever, any moment in time, separate. They simply can't. You would need to have all the other provinces in Canada sign on to allow it, number one. The Crown would have to agree to it, number two. The Constitution of the Act of 1982 would have to be completely rewritten, and all 4 territories that occupy Alberta, let me rephrase that. Treaty territory, which is all of Alberta, all of those chiefs, all of those bands would have to agree to allow them to separate, which makes me think, what's going to separate? Lethbridge? All treaty territory. So where the hell are they going to go? Mr. Beaver's just joining us. He slept in this morning, but that's okay. We're still able to produce a little bit of content. How you doing this morning, sir?
Definitely sleepy.
Nice.
A little groggy still. Got tiny eyes, but doing well. I am so sorry I slept through. The alarm did ring, and I turned it off, and for some reason it seems that I fell back asleep before I swung my leg over the bed. I guess I really needed it.
Yeah, well, sometimes that's just how it goes, right?
Thank you for holding down the lodge.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Sorry, kids.
You're welcome.
I'm so sorry.
I have the tweet. I have the specific tweet that you're referring to, Cassie. I'll put it on the screen in just a second. This is a hilarious little bit from 2019 when Danielle Smith thought she could, we're going to take over and get that way we have tidewater rights, and it's a whole bunch of crap. Danny Smith. Tide. Okay, there we go. I have to save the image so that I can put it on the screen for you properly. 1 second here. Had to clear my throat. Yeah, I got it. It's just
okay.
Just going to bring it up here in a second. And where is it? I just got to locate it. I saved it. I just got to locate it. So there it is. There we go. So this is the Danny Smith. She said, just interviewed Gerard Lushishin from the Frontier Center about redrawing Alberta and Saskatchewan's borders to correct improper grammar, to correct an historic wrong. No, it's a historic wrong. H is not a vowel. An is only used when the word starts with a vowel. So basic grammar. Sorry, I'm pedantic like that. A historic wrong and give us access to deepwater ports at Prince Rupert and Churchill. What you say, BC and Manitoba. So I'm going to show you this ridiculous thing here because this is funny. I'll just take that away and then I'll bring this up right here and you can see this ridiculous map that she wants drawn. This is what they think Alberta should have. Alberta should have, let's see, 2/3 of British Columbia, or at least half by the looks of it. They feel, but here's what they don't. Right, if you take a look along the border here, so the top line in the blue, what you're seeing is it goes right to the Alaska border, and then all of that coastal area in northern British Columbia, with a very small section. Most of that is the United States of America, Alaska. So they just bring it under the line. So maybe that's why they made it all the way to the top. I don't know. But two possible criteria, a parallel-based border or an infrastructure-based border, both would secure tidewater rights for the prairie provinces. This is the most ridiculous thing I think I've ever seen. Again, you'd have to get the Crown, you'd have to get British Columbia and Manitoba to sign off on this. Just give up their territorial rights. This is a pipe dream. This is a fantasy by conspiracy theorists who have no basis or foothold in reality whatsoever. This is just the most ridiculous thing ever.
And if she wants the ports in both, then she's basically annexing Saskatchewan as well.
Yes, she'd have to. Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing. Let's take a look at that map again for just a couple of seconds here. How many months out of the year is that section of northern Manitoba, because that goes into Manitoba, how many months out of the year is that section of the Hudson's Bay in northern Manitoba actually viable as a shipping lane? Right? Because remember Canada, let's take a look at this map. So she wants to take the northern section, which is Treaty 5, territory of Manitoba. So she could go through Hudson's Bay and then sail up around northern Quebec, south of Baffin Island, and out to wherever. Well, there's several months out of the year where there's a lot of ice and a lot of bergs floating in there. This is not a well thought out, based in reality plan. These are not serious people. Because nobody who had reality on their side would think that would even be viable.
Well, actually, as Cassie says, Churchill Port isn't deep enough for oil tankers. But I remember that Prime Minister Harper, as Cassie mentions, wanted to dredge it once in order to make it deep enough. But there has been talk recently of doing something with the port of Churchill. Because the federal government in late February
Jillian.
But give climate change a chance, the water needs to warm up more.
Well, that's something we are all afraid of. I mean, after all, that's not a good thing.
But in February, there was an announcement of $60 million total funding from something called Prairies Can and the Manitoba government to support the completion of a major capital program on the Hudson Bay Railway to begin investments in the redevelopment of the Port of Churchill. So they do think that there's an opportunity, or that it's viable enough in a certain number of months a year to be able to start using it. And the first thing that they're starting with is the railway, because there used to be rail service all the way up to Churchill, which was pretty regular. And then that kind of, the tracks, I think it was, just got too old. And nobody wanted to pay to replace them, particularly under the previous government. And it seems that under the current government, well, they're looking at that now as a potential viable project. It was the Yeah, let's see. The Arctic Gateway Group, which is a partnership of 41 First Nations and Bayline communities in Manitoba. The Hudson Bay Railway, owned and operated by the Arctic Gateway Group, is the only affordable year-round all-weather mode of transportation for both passengers and freight traffic to access several northern Manitoba communities. The rail line is essential for supply chains, local food security, and regional connectivity. Its unique community ownership model represents an ongoing steps towards economic reconciliation in Canada. So we're looking at it as a reconciliation project as well. In 2018, the federal government had committed to repair and provide maintenance of the railway, and that's what saw the creation of the group. So this is been in the works now for about 6 years under this federal government, and so it looks like the Arctic Gateway Group acquired the Hudson Bay Railway, the Port of Churchill, and the Marine Tank Farm, and then in 2022, there was a memorandum of understanding of some kind signed between the government of Canada and the province of Manitoba that would further ensure that the railway would remain operational for all who benefited from its use. And it seems that over the last 2 construction seasons, repair and maintenance work on the line replaced about 9% of all rail ties, resurfaced 2 million feet, so about 610 kilometers of track, and upgraded or repaired about 10 bridges, installed fresh ballast rock on 23% of the track between the Pas and Churchill, Manitoba. So part of this, of course, has to do with mining as well, because Manitoba is home to 29 of the 31 critical minerals that have been identified as essential to net zero transition.
Oh, I didn't know it was that many. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that represents a lot of, technician jobs, because most of those mines will be fully automated for the most part. Not a lot of mining jobs per se, but there definitely will be some, a large amount of, technicians that have to do some work there to maintain the equipment. It'll mostly be automated with robots and AI for the most part, but yeah.
Yeah. So both levels of government are contributing about $30 million each to that $60 million project. And there's a little clip of Wab Canoe talking a bit about it that we picked up from Instagram that I gave to you there, Mr. Grizzly. So I had remembered seeing this on the news and I had made a note of it, but I didn't really have any place to actually fit it in the show. So it's kind of interesting that you mentioned it right now.
I'd love to play you the clip, but the audio on it is so bad. It's really, really, really bad. I can't play it. Nobody will be able to hear it. It's only coming out of one side, and it's super low, and there's a lot of static in the background. So unfortunately, I can't play it.
All right.
It's not playable. Let's put it that way.
Okay. I'll see if I can find another one eventually here. So what else do we have here in this article from CBC? Yep, not much different from the article that I previously read. But the federal government has basically put in a total of more than $215 million towards railway improvements since the beginning of the project. And the land link to the south, that's what happened, was privatized after the federal government sold the Canadian National Railway in 1995.
Okay.
And then it seems that the company that had it did not have the funds or did not have the care to do the maintenance required to keep it going permanently.
Well, this is one of the things that happens that we talked about when, and it's a big problem in the United States of America. We discussed this not too long ago about how the privatization of rail lines and national carriers is bad, because what happens then? Well, you've got shareholders, and what are shareholders motivated by? Profit. And how do you find profit? Well, we have to cut something somewhere. So what do they cut? They cut personnel. They cut the time personnel have to use to inspect. And then we have things like lac magnetic, because there's not enough people to do the jobs. They have stretched the manpower, I don't know, the workforce. They've stretched the workforce on the freight trains so thin that they don't have time to inspect everything. They're not allotted the time to inspect everything. And then they work them for 14 to 16 hours. And what happens? People get tired, make simple mistakes. There's nobody to double check for safety. And we have examples of lac magnetic. And why? Why are they cut? Well, personnel costs money. So let's cut as many personnel as we can. Let's cut it down to a skeleton crew, which is 2 people, or in some cases in the United States where they've cut it down to 1 person running a train that is up to 5 kilometers in length.
Yeah.
Bad
Indeed.
ideas.
Bad idea. It seems that the whole project actually got underway with Heather Stephenson after she had succeeded Brian Pallister as the Progressive Conservative Party of Manitoba leader and premier in 2021. She contributed more than $70 million towards the project at that time. And it seems that the main reason at that particular point is that they wanted to, it was part of a plan to ship potash from Saskatchewan and petroleum projects from Alberta across the Arctic Ocean. So that was their goal at that point when they started that project.
I got a funny story about potash for you in a sec.
All right. And what else do we have here from the story? Those are about the main elements there. And the minister making the announcement with Mr. Canoe for this particular project, this extra $60 million is Minister Dan Van Dahl, who is the Minister of Northern Affairs, who happens to be from Manitoba.
Okay. So my potash story, there's a fellow I was working with many, many years ago when I was at Kingston Penitentiary. We're doing an installation there, and we were subcontracted by the company that he was employed by. And the company that he was employed by serviced prisons all over the country. So he's been all over Canada, way up north, down, every possible area you could think of to work in federal prisons to put in security systems. So he's telling us a story one day, and he says, because he's from Saskatchewan. He says, my dad discovered one day that putting potash on the driveway is not good for the driveway. It eats right through it. And our coworker, my boss at the time, had this befuddled look on his face. And he goes, potash? Your father smokes pot? I'm like, no. And we both looked at him like, what? Oh, no, not ash from pot. Potash. It's like a mineral. You mine it. It's from... Saskatchewan's the most abundant place of potash in the world. It's like it's for farming. Never mind. He's like, oh, I thought you were saying your father smoked pot. Now this was a bit of a shock to my buddy because his father had. This is a funny and true story. His father was a former priest and his mother was a former nun. They met. They both left. She left. He left. And they met afterwards. They didn't meet until long after he'd left the priesthood and she'd left the seminary or the convent. He left the seminary, she left the convent. They met and fell in love and had a family. Another irony of 6 degrees of separation. She before she went into the convent, she was in love with my uncle, and they almost got married, but they didn't. So I'm like, you realize, buddy, how close we are? We're almost related. He goes, yeah. And then we start talking about his mom's hometown, which is also my mom's hometown, where my uncle is from. And it turns out we have a lot of commonalities there we didn't even know about. And we didn't meet until like 1998, which I thought was kind of funny, 30 years, I never met this person. Turns out, we're almost related. You have another clip for me here, so I'm going to see if
I think it might be a better, it's just shorter one, but I think it might be better sound.
a little bit better, yes. Yeah, I can play this one. It's marginally better. Just give me a sec here. I have to set it up. This is workable. Let me just share it, and then I will pull it up. And we'll play again. Not the best audio, but this is the best I can give you for right now. So here we go. This is Wab Canoe, a premier Wab Canoe, and have a listen to this. And if I can get it to play.
We're here today in Churchill to announce our shared investment along with our friends at the federal government and here in the town of Churchill to build up the rail line and to build up the port. Well, we're all happy to be here. What we're really investing in are these folks right here, the tradespeople who keep the port and rail line operational, the trainees who are going to be the tradespeople of the future. This is about good paying jobs for the blue collar in northern Manitoba and across the province. Yes.
Well, there we go.
There you go. I
don't know if you could hear that very well. It was not wasn't the best audio, but that was better than the other one. Was there was so much static in the background I could barely hear it.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, I do too.
Just every time he pops up on screen, I get good vibes.
Yeah. Well, and something I spoke to yesterday, I did an interview with. I can't remember. When I find it, I'll give you a link to it. And I talked to her about, because we were talking about the woman I told you that wanted to interview me.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
About the unconstitutionality of the EA. So we had about an hour chat, and one of the things I talked about, I said, you know, what we're seeing in you know, our political show is centrist, progressive, left-leaning. I said, we don't make no bones about that. That's who we are. I said, Wab Kinew, Premier of Manitoba, would be described as a Joe Clark progressive conservative. I know he's the head of the NDP party, the NDP, not the NDP party, the NDP party. The New Democratic Party is what NDP stands for. So if you say NDP party, you're saying that's like the Trattoria. The Premier of Manitoba, leader of the NDP in that province, who is, I mean, by comparative studies, he's a progressive conservative with a different name. But I'm fine with that because, again, he is progressive and he is bringing programs that really will help that province. And yes, here's what Cassie's saying, and I could not agree with you more.
Yep.
Western Canada could really prosper if Naheed Nenshi gets in Alberta and Carla in Saskatchewan with Wab in Manitoba.
And
they
EV
can really
already
turn it
in
around.
BC. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, that would make a huge difference. Now, you'd be looking at a representation of about 1, 2. Let's do some quick math on that now. Representation, BC is 5.6 million. Alberta is 4.8 million. So there's, 10, almost 11 million there. 12, 13.5, almost 14 million people from Manitoba to BC. 13 million plus. I'm not going to do the exact numbers, but that would almost give them the power that we have here in the province of Ontario. There's almost 16 million people here. We are 35,000 shy of the 16 million mark in Ontario. And Quebec hit 9 million just a few months ago. So to give you an idea of how quickly the country's growing, we are at 40,947,997 people. We're 52,004 people away from hitting 41 million in less than a year. Did I call a QR code a QRC code? I did, didn't I? Sorry. See, I get repetitive sometimes. A QRC code. QR code. Yeah. So I get a little bit, I get a little bit scronkly when I wake up in the morning because I'm a little tired. I have something for you from, when was this? February 28th. I don't know how we missed this. This is another Pierre Poilievre falsehood. How did I miss this? I don't know. But this is, well, let me put this on the screen for you so and I'll read it out because this is just more garbage coming out of Pierre Poilievre's mouth. He's trying to be pedantic, but he's not being pedantic. He's being an asshole and disingenuous and duplicitous as always. No, Minister Freeland, 550,000 homes were not built by the Housing Accelerator Fund. Your housing minister said the program hasn't completed any because it doesn't lead to the construction of specific homes. Common sense conservatives will build the homes. What in the fuck is he going on about? The Accelerator Fund has 600,000 homes under
750.
construction.
750. Oh,
750 now.
Yeah. Or at least planned, if not under construction.
Planned, if not, exactly. No, they haven't been built yet, you idiot. It takes more than 2 weeks to build a home. Even if all the money's in place, you still have to plan them. You still have to get the zoning done. You have to do soil sampling. It doesn't happen overnight.
But he's basically he's making the same comment that you're making about the government of Ontario when government of Ontario says we're building homes and you're saying, no, you don't.
Except but the government of Ontario isn't building homes.
Yes,
there's no money directly from the provinces.
There's no money directly from the province, but you basically say you're not building the homes, you're just funding people to build the homes. But he's saying that he's trying to make people believe that because you can't turn around and say this housing accelerator fund was used to build this specific unit or this specific home, that it's not contributing to building any homes. He's being pedantic in the wrong way.
Yes.
Because when you find like a tiny little point and you say, well, if I said, for example, I make you a sandwich and I say I cooked dinner. And it's like, well, it's not like you didn't warm anything up, so you didn't cook anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like, fine.
I made you a sandwich.
You still got food and you still ate. You still have a full belly, right? Okay. I didn't cook. Ooh.
Well, I have a link here from CMHC, which gives you a large urban stream, small rural, north, and indigenous stream of the Housing Accelerator Fund progress. This is from the CMHC. I'll put this in the chat, and then I'll have a look at it. Pardon me. And here, there's the link in the chat. So let's just take a look at the small, rural, and north and indigenous stream. Alberta. Okay, so Banff, Bow Island, West Loch, Smoky Lake, Duchess, New Brunswick, Grand Buck-Touche, Champ d'Or, Indian Island First Nation, Cap Akadzi, Katakat, Shippagan, Newfoundland and Labrador, Channel, Port aux Basques. So there's all kinds of news releases here. I can share this on the screen just so people can see what we're looking at. And boom, there we go. I'll scroll through this little by little. I'm not going to read it all off because there's lots of links in there. But you can see, news release. Let me blow it up a bit so it's easier to see. That's why it's too small. There we go. That's much better, right?
Right.
So, like I said, this is just for the small rural North Indigenous stream. So you can see all of these news releases, and some of these go back a couple of months. Some of them are very recent. Marathon, Ontario, Prince Edward Island, Cornwall, Yukon. Let's scroll up and take a look at the urban ones, because there's quite a few of them under the smaller streams. And what are the large and urban? Alberta, Airdrie, Edmonton, Sylvan Lake, Calgary, BC, North Vancouver, Victoria, Campbell River, Comox. There is lots of information here. Wow, lots in British Columbia. Bathurst, Tracadie, Campbellton. Oh, yeah, they're really doing a good job here. Ontario, Tecumseh, North Grenfell, Thunder Bay, Woolwich, Ottawa. So I'm going to look at this one because it's where I live. So from February 12th, the Government of Canada, the City of Ottawa announced that they reached an agreement to fast-track over 4,400 housing units over the next year. This work will help spur the construction of 32,600 homes over the next decade. Under the Housing Accelerator Fund, this agreement will provide over $176.3 million to eliminate barriers to building the housing we need faster. Sean Fraser and the Liberal government are getting it done. You don't have to like it, but they're getting it done. It's that simple. They're getting it done. Does it happen overnight? No, it takes time. It takes time. They're trying to eliminate barriers that are in the way. A lot of barriers happen to be financing, and then there's engineering, there's architectural applications, there's soil samples, there's all kinds of things that go into a project. When building a new tower, for example, say you want to build a 30-story tower down the street from here, from drawing until shovel in the ground can take sometimes as many as 10 to 12 years. That's no joke. You first find the plot, you buy the plot of land. Now, you have to come up with a design. Okay, let's see if the design gets approved. Okay, the design gets approved. This is what we'd like to do. It's a proposal. Then you have to start doing studies. You have to do traffic studies. You have to do soil samples. You have to do bedrock. Because if it's a 27-story building, you've got to make sure that it's going to be on a solid foundation. So you have to do drilling. It can take 10 to 12 years before you put a shovel in the ground. This is not out of the ordinary. So this fund is designed to help speed that process up, because you have to raise money to do all of those things well in advance. How do I know this? Well, I don't know. I only worked in construction 29 years. I might have a little bit of an idea of what I'm talking about. I've seen some stuff and some things, and I've been to places where stuff and things happen. So.
Oh, man. How are we doing for time, Mr. Grizzly?
We should start wrapping up because I do have to get into the office. I have a very busy day ahead of me, and I'm out of coffee, and I'm going to need another one shortly. Last sip right here.
All right. Well, I was pretty much here for decoration today, kids.
That's okay.
I was here today.
Mademoiselle Fox has a beaver mug for you. Did I show it to you? Do you have it there, Don?
No.
Yeah, she's used it a couple of times, but she has a beaver mug for you that she ordered. I don't know if it came via Amazon or not. I'm just trying to find it right now.
A
What are you
beaver
doing?
mug.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. It's a beaver mug. Pardon? Yes, you can say hi. There's your. You gotta crouch down a bit.
Oh, I love
Here's the
it.
beaver mug for Douglas. And here's your goddamn sandwich.
Oh, yeah. There's my sandwich, a piece of scronkly bread. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I love it. I love the beaver mug.
Well, next time we meet up, I'll have to get it to you. You have some stuff for me too, like mic stands, I think, and something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I have stuff for you as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just that. So, So just before we head out, we are going to do a virtual pubcast this Saturday.
Yes.
It's going to start a little bit later than normal because Mr. Beaver has rehearsal.
Yes.
So you should be home around 4:00. You said.
I'm hoping to be around 4, but it's looking like from what I heard at rehearsal yesterday, it looks like we might be going later. So let's plan for 5:30.
How about 5? I can kick it off at 5 and entertain the kids and Kubs because we'll have people joining in.
Okay.
Locke's going to join. Dean's going to join. They've committed to joining. Army Chris will probably want to join for a bit. So, and I'm going to go to the pub in the afternoon and shoot a little bit of footage and do some on-site stuff. So I'll have some footage to show and share with everybody of the insanity that it will be because it is St. Patrick's Day weekend, St. Patrick's Day being Sunday, which means that Saturday is when everybody will be out celebrating. It's going to be interesting, and the weather's supposed to be quite warm. I think it's going to be about 8 or 10 degrees, and the patio is going to open, so I'm sure it'll be a full house. I've no doubt. And because it's better when it lands on a Saturday. Last year it was on a Friday, and it's on a Sunday this year because of the leap year. Curse you, leap year. It would have been a Saturday, St. Patrick's Day, but the day before is okay. People will still go out on the Sunday. They just won't get insane like they will on Saturday.
Indeed.
So we'll like I said, I'll go to the pub. I'll shoot some footage there, and then we'll have a proper. I got the pub background up. I really like it though. I really like the pub background. It has a nice warm feeling to it.
It does.
You're gonna have your background up as well for Saturday.
I hope so. I need some help installing something on the ceiling to make that happen. But
okay.
Yes. The Beaver Sweetie is trying to meet a deadline for a scientific paper, so he's
busy.
Yes,
very busy.
He's a little busy right now.
Understandable.
But yes, we'll get that done. So I'll be able to put the background up. It's Kit Ellen Paul is wired today.
A little bit.
So just with the rehearsals. Normally our rehearsals are ending at 3 on Sundays, but the last couple of weeks we've been doing full runs of acts, and I think this weekend we have the band for the whole rehearsal. So I think we're doing a full run of it after doing some prep stuff before. So we might only be getting out around 4:15, 4:30.
Yeah, the only viable time that we could have had an on-site in-person podcast this month would have been last weekend, and I was in no shape for that. I was still in full recovery mode, so to sit in the pub for 4 or 5, 6 hours at a minimum, even if it's only a 4-hour show, I'm there for at least 6 because it's a 1-hour setup and a 1-hour teardown of the mobile studio. So I wouldn't. There's no way I could have done that this past weekend. But this weekend I'm up for some fun and some revelry. So I'll go to the pub. I'll have a pint or two of Guinness. I'll have some Guinness here, maybe some other libations. Maybe I should pick up some Jamesons or something. I don't know. I'd love to have some Slane Irish whiskey, but I can't. It's not available here in Canada yet. It is in the U.S., so if anybody is venturing across the border and can pick up a bottle for me, that would be wonderful. Slane Irish whiskey.
There you go. Before we go, Kits and Kubs, just a little quick note for those who are paying attention to what's going on south of the border. There were some primaries in the states of Georgia, Washington, Hawaii, and Mississippi yesterday, and it is now pretty much official. The race will be between Ronald Rump Rose and Joe Biden in the next U.S. federal election, because both of them have now officially secured more than half the total number of delegates that they need to have a clear-out majority and be sanctioned as the nominees of their party. So there we go. We are going to have a rematch. There's part of it that makes... how would I put it? I want Trump to lose.
Yes.
But the bad thing about Trump losing is it because they have term limits in the United States. If Joe Biden wins again, gets through his presidency, and Donald Trump is still alive at the end of the next term, that that Father Mucker's going to run again.
Yeah.
He'll just keep on running until it's like, I tell you, that saying, only the good die young, never been more true.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Well,
I'm just going to let that sit there for a minute.
Yeah, just let that hang in the air for a minute or two. I guess I'm going to be living forever by that metric. Something here I noticed in the chat was Elaine was saying, please come to Toronto. That is something in the works. We are trying to get it organized. It's a matter of scheduling and funding, because for us to come down,
it would be probably about a $500 venture just to do that.
Minimum, because I need to rent a vehicle. I need 2 nights in a hotel, because we got to get there on the Friday. We got to get into the pub, set up on the Saturday, do the show, tear it down, get all the equipment back to the hotel, stay the next night in the hotel, and then drive home on the Sunday. And I said I have to rent a vehicle because I sold my car. So it's minimum $500 expenditure for me. That doesn't cover any food or drink or anything else. That's literally just the hotel and vehicle cost. There's also the fuel cost on top of that. So we gotta, it's an expensive endeavor.
Yeah, probably $700 when you include gas and food.
Yeah, almost. And and there's Bridget would be with me, so we're looking at a chunk of money. So it's not that I'm not willing to do it. It's just a matter of getting the funds together, because I'm heading to Calgary for a couple of weeks this summer. I'm going up there for Stampede, so I gotta prioritize the budgets to get everything paid. I got bills to pay too, so it's all a bit of everything. But we do want to do a show in Toronto, and we're hoping to be able to do it at PJ O'Brien's Irish Pub, which is right downtown in the heart of Toronto. And they have a nice little snug that I sat in the last time I was there, and I'm like, this would be the perfect spot. And they're not super crazy busy on a Saturday afternoon. So I think we could do the show from there live if they're amenable to it. I need to reach out to them, though, and see if they'd be happy to have us do that. It's late. Who was oh my goodness. I can't remember. The family that owns it, the coach, former coach, late coach of the Leafs. I can see his face. I can't think of his name right now. Anyway, it's his family that owns the pub, and they've expanded it over the years. It's a nice little pub. I really enjoy it there. But yeah, we're going to see if we can do that, get that set up, and put something together.
All right. And the last little bit of news that I wanted to mention, because it happened last Thursday, but yesterday, officially happened last Thursday, but yesterday officially in Brussels, Belgium, the Swedish flag was raised at NATO headquarters.
Yes.
That was on Monday, sorry. And Sweden is now officially the 32nd member state of NATO, and they are now going to be joining the Canadian Brigade in Latvia with the training program that we're doing over there.
Nice.
Yes. All right, kits and cubs. That's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crider Media Network. We hope that you love listening to us, because we love making this for you. Remember that sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. You have the mouths from which we want the words to come out. So please, 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 please tell your peeps and poops all about us. We really appreciate that. If you would like to make it such that you do not miss an episode, well, you do not have to, thanks to the Ray Girl, because that QR code that has appeared under my chin will bring you to our Podpage site. That's podpage.com if you're listening, /the True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of those words. And if you click subscribe there, when we have something fresh off the bandwidth, it will come directly to your inbox, and that way you don't have to miss a thing. If you would like to support us in other ways, well then, you can make like Kit Lane and go to our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page, and there we have 3 buttons for you to click. We have lick, we have sure, and we have subscribe. If you click them all, that makes us very happy. A click a day makes the beaver want to stay. How do you like them apples, Pierre?
That's pretty good.
And if you'd like to support us in other ways, the QR code that is right above Mr. Grizzly's lovely, lovely dome will bring you to our pod page. not our pod page, sorry, our coffee page site, where you will find the Emergency Beaver Lodge Hydration Fund. And if you're listening, that's coffee, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver. And we have some thanks to give some people on an upcoming show because a certain number of you have made some donations over the past few weeks, and we want to give you your recognition. But if you have a little bit of change loose in your pocket and you would like to help us here at the Beaver Lodge Make Rent, we would very, 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 very much appreciate that. Thank you very much. Or, contribute to that Toronto fund, whatever reason it is. That's great. But as we always say, the gift of your attention is the most important gift. And when you like, when you share, when you subscribe, when you tell people about us, when you all of that helps us as well. So if you cannot contribute, please do not feel guilty at all in any way, shape, or form. All the things that you do to give us some visibility. Every little bit helps, and we appreciate all of it. Thank you very, 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 very much. All right. What else do we have? Because democracy is something that you do. Please write those letters if you want a national school food program, because the budget's going to be coming up in April. If you want more money for defense, for example, because it seems that that's becoming a concern for Canadians. If you think that we should be spending more on pharmacare or going faster or more on daycare, all of these things. If it's something that's really important to your heart, put it down on paper. Remember, handwritten letters get much more attention than those that are typed up or those that are form letters that you sign. But please do. And if you have some time, pick up the phone, call your constituency office and ask for a meeting. It's performance review time. Hey. All right. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying it could be a tough world out there, kids. So please be kind to and gentle with yourself. Mr. Grizzly, some words of wisdom, please.
Words of wisdom. Well, it's a tough, strange, vicious world out there. So if you can smile at somebody and show them some kindness today, and maybe whisper in their ear, hey, don't worry. Everything's going to be all right. Your grizzly friend has got your back. That may be of some assistance to them.
Yeah. And I see here, Mashatika says, let's all cross our fingers and toes that Jazzy hears back from Fanshawe about being accepted into the acting and arts program. Well, this beaver, who's not at all dramatic, certainly would not deny anyone some good vibes for wanting to get into the arts. So, all the good vibes, Jazzy. We hope that you get the answer that you like and that you want.
Well, in some other positive news, Bridget's daughter got into Queen's, and she got in 3 schools. She's got her acceptance letter. So Queen's is one of them. I can't remember what the other ones were, but Queen's, I'm like, for nursing, I'm like, that's a good one. That's a big one. You should go. Queen's, having that on your resume is good. It's good.
It's very good. Yes. It's very, 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 very good. All right, Mr. Grizzly, please cue the rooster. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music.
I have a quick, cute Easter egg for you, but I'm going to have to mute this sound because we'll get a copyright violation. But just imagine the theme song to Mission Impossible playing while I show you this video. And it is playing, but if we show it, we'll get tagged. So let me just mute it, and then we'll play the video. Dun 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 dun.
Oh my word!
Dun 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 diddly diddly dun 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 dun. Tuxedo cat. Look at this guy go with a bow tie on, which is the funniest part, if you ask me.
It's Tomcat Cruise.
Tomcat Cruise, yeah.
I love it.
I thought that was cute. Yeah, it does have the theme song to Mission Impossible playing, so if we'll get tagged if we do it. Yeah.
I love it. I love it so much. All right, kids, have a great day.
I'll see you.